Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spiritual Journey podcast. My name is Nimesh Radia, and I'm your host. I always love starting every episode by just saying thank you. I feel so blessed with this podcast, the people it reaches, the impact it has. I was guided to start it through the Akashic Records, and really my objective was to guide people on the journey and also to simplify spirituality. And I love the fact with the messages I get every week that it's doing that. So if you're a regular listener, welcome back. Thank you for joining. If this is your first time you listen to us, welcome. Let us know if you have any feedback. Feedback's always a blessing. So thank you. I am an Akashic record reader, Akashic trainer, podcast host, as well as a spiritual coach and mentor. And what I get to do is I get to guide people as they go on a journey to truly discover who they are. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but I'm here to hold space and help people to truly understand their own nature, releasing the program and releasing the layers. I feel like so many of us are going through some kind of reset, rebirth, and I'm here to guide people and hold them. And whether that's through the podcast, whether that's through the mentoring program, Akashic Records, whatever that is, I'll always say my purpose is anyone I connect with, I want to leave them better than I found them. That allows me to do so many different things. I'm not tied to one purpose. So if you're worried about what your purpose is and what you're here to do, don't stop waiting for epiphany. What if you're here to do multiple things? Whatever feels right in this moment, do that. With this podcast, I get to interview some beautiful, amazing guests, and I'm super excited to have two guests on today who had the pleasure of mentoring, really truly seeing them shine the light. And as the universe kind of gives us nudges, signals, they're both transitioning from being in the corporate space to building something more healing. And for me, it was like when two clients are going through something similar, it's like, well, hold on, there's a message for me there. So I took that message, and I've been talking to these two for a while about maybe there's something I need to go back into corporate with, or maybe something we do jointly, because I was in corporate for 25 years plus for a reason. So I was like taking that nudge and just exploring. Who knows what it's going to lead to, but we thought, you know what, let's start with an open conversation on here. It's a beautiful platform to share. So I'm excited to have Alexandra and Purnima on this episode. Both beautiful souls. You've heard them on this podcast before, but let's start with some intros. So Alexandra, can you go first?
Yes, thank you for the invite, Nimesh. It's a pleasure being here with you today. I'm Alexandra Willis. I'm a spiritual mentor, a medium, and a healer. I spent a few years so far in corporate as well as in nonprofit organizations. So I'm really excited about what we're going to talk today about.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Nimesh. Thank you for inviting us to the podcast. And hi, everyone. My name is Purnima. I'm a spiritual mentor healer, an Akashic reader, and Reiki practitioner in training. And as Nimesh mentioned, I'm also transitioning from a corporate career of over 26 years that I've worked across global companies and moving into a heart-led service business, which I'm really excited about. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you both for being here, and I'm excited for this conversation. And what a lot of my clients are from the corporate space or still in the corporate space because there's just a lot of shifting happening and a lot of people kind of going through something, and people are searching for something different. So for me, when I talk about the current energy shifting from divine masculine to divine feminine and shifting from the head to the heart, I'm just having more and more of those type of conversations, and certainly from people within the corporate space, because if we're honest, the corporate space is needs healing too, right? There's just there's a lot of shifting. There's a lot of, if you think of the last few years, with COVID, everybody started working from home, and then that continued, and now there's a transition back. And even when you're working from home, when does work end and when does life begin, right? So it's an interesting space and something that kind of I'm getting an energetic push to do more in. So I'm going with it. But I'd love to hear from you guys in terms of what are you feeling energetically and on the planet, but also within the corporate space, and anything you want to share from your heart. Purnima, let's start with you.
Yeah, obviously from the planet's perspective, there's a lot of energies. We've been through an eclipse and various other energetic, astrological things. And we know there's a lot of pain as well. So we're all searching, we're praying, we are trying to find meaning. And so that's the one side. And then in the corporate space, because I'm still, actively in the corporate space, I know we've had these conversations in the last few months, and it's so transpired that people have been reaching out to me separately, discussing or, sort of interested in the subject around, be it spirituality, be it mindfulness, be it, well-being. And, what does that look like in the workplace? We know there's a lot of corporates that do well-being and mindfulness, but there's something bigger going on. And I think, we're not separate individuals. We the person we're at home, we are the person at work. Yes, we have to maybe just adapt and, be slightly different, but what we're feeling is going to be stretched across both of those environments. So this is really, I think, a key topic. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Purnima. Alexandra, the same question for you.
From a planetary perspective, I'm more into connecting to Gaia. There is a complete rebirth going on right now. We've seen shifts not only in energy, but we can also sense them physically. We can see the planet going through so many changes, and everyone on this planet feel them. Whether you are in the spiritual realm, whether you are physically here on this planet, whether you are in corporate, in spiritual business, whatever it is that you do, you are all going through this rebirth that our planet is going through. With that said, in the corporate world specifically, people are looking for purpose. People are looking to find an identity in the business they're working in with how do I connect with what I really am here to do. And I think that is one of the gaps that I have identified in the corporate world, right? Is trying to figure out what is it that for the people that already know what their purpose is and what they want to do, then they feel that they don't fit in. And for the people that are awakening right now, because we're all going through an awakening, that is starting to question, what am I doing here? What is really my purpose? And am I in the right place? I've been fortunate. I had the opportunity to mentor people that I work with that were going through that phase of, I don't know what my purpose is. And once they discovered the purpose, they said, well, I don't really belong here. So it's a very fine balance that we're seeing nowadays, especially with everyone awakening.
Definitely interesting times, and I think back through my journey of kind of merging corporate and healing, and I remember debating should I create different profiles and all this? What are people at work going to think of me because I was still in corporate? In the end, I decided that, you know what, I need to merge worlds. How I do one thing is how I do everything. So that's the decision I made, and it's really interesting because we talked about the corporate space and the word spiritual within corporate. It's kind of like, do people see it as woo woo and kind of. But it was what surprised me when I left the corporate space, the reaction of lots of people reaching out, curious at what I was doing. I mean, I was there for 17, 18 years, so I built a lot of. But actually, the number of spiritual conversations I was having with the most interesting, and I was quite surprised. I was like, wow, and actually, interesting enough, again, the other nudge the university's given me, I'm back in Raleigh. So I used to visit Raleigh once a month when I was working for a company called Red Hat, and I'm visiting there in a couple of weeks, and I'm just like, all the nudges. So, if you're in corporate, if you're not in corporate, as Alexandra just said, we're all kind of going through something, and we're all kind of going through some sort of identity crisis. So whether you're in corporate or whether you're in something else, acknowledge that you are going through some sort of transit in terms some sorts of, and that could be in your personal life, that could be in your work life, but I feel like a lot of us are being called to do something different. And I guess the objective of this episode is to maybe challenge you to explore, what is your heart telling you to do? Because I feel like a lot of people kind of are living in a world where they don't feel like they belong anymore. It's like alien to them. The people they used to mix with, and just the things you do. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to leave your career, whatever that looks, or change it. Or maybe it does. So I'm curious, that's both of you, as you on your own personal journey and kind of activating the healer in you and knowing that you're here to do something different. When you've been in a so-called normal role, whatever normal feels like, but I'm just curious, how did that transition feel, and how's it feeling? And anything you want to share. Alexandra, let's start with you.
I'm practicing surrendering. I'm trusting that spirit knows where I'm going, where it's taking me. I'm trusting that it's putting the right people in front of me. I'm trusting that my business is going to continue doing well. I'm trusting that I'm serving to the highest purpose and the highest good of all concerned. And with that trust and then surrendering, things just happen magically. You were saying something around having more spiritual conversations now when you left the corporate world. The first thing that came to my mind was people feel safe having those conversations because we are not their coworkers anymore. They don't feel that wall anymore of like, I'm not allowed to talk about spirituality at work. I don't want to think I'm crazy. But then once we stepped out, because I'm not in the corporate world right now either, once we step out, people say, okay, now that I know, that I'm really interested on, let's talk about spirituality, let's talk about practices. And most of the conversations that I've had has been around how do we start co-creating these changes and start leading from control to connection, but just being more aware. That came out really nice. How do we do that, right? How do we create this environment where everyone just feels safe?
I love that. How do we create an environment where everybody feels safe? And it's just, there's so much history, there's so much energy that we bring in from our past lives and whatever that means. And Alex, just before we move on to Purnima, I'd love for you to share what your journey was like, your identity, and kind of how you transitioned and really understood that you were here to do something different. Because I remember for me, it's like back in the day, corporate was my identity. Oh my God, wanted to be a senior manager, then want to be a director, and need to be a senior director. I need to have this big team, and every time I got there, I was like, "Oh, is this it? Okay, it must be something else." And eventually I realized, well, hold on a second. It's not about how big my team is or what my title is. Who cares? And even when in the corporate, I was having a lot of conscious conversations. And what I mean by that is, I would try and use different terminology. I'd still, what I teach today, the first thing I teach people when I start working with them is every day, just give yourself 10 minutes silence. And the way I describe to corporate people is, the calmer you are, the more you can react in a crisis. So 10 minutes silence a day, journaling and doing mirror work, it allowed me to frame that to help people to be more present. But I'm just curious for you to share more about what was the transition from that identity of, or maybe almost having a dream and then realizing actually that isn't who you are in essence. What was that journey like? Alexandra, that's to you. I call just over and knows. Every time I talk to Alex, it's like I'm thinking Alexandra, but it's like lovingly I've known her for Alex. So if I keep switching, part of me that's with love.
When I thought the question was for Purnima, but
no, I'll come. It is coming to Purnima, but I wanted you and just kind of transition, and then I'll go to Purnima.
So how the transition is going? It's I'm going to call it magical and nerve-wracking at the same time. Because let's be honest, right? There is a sense of security that having a job in the corporate world brings. I have a family. I have a total of 5 children. 3 of my boys are my stepsons and 2 of my own that are little, 1 4 and 3 years old. So it brings a sense of security that running our own business that hasn't been established internationally yet, it leaves a gap, right? It leaves that worry of so many things that could potentially go wrong. But then you stay in the magic, and then you trust, and then you surrender, and then spirit shows up and says, let's start by talking about conscious corporate. Let's nudge Nimesh and have him say, let's get together. Let's put a podcast about this. Let's have a conversation, see what happens, right? I had the pleasure of meeting Purnima just not too long ago, right? And our soul contract just showed up right now. So it is a journey of transition in which I have to trust. I have to let go of what I cannot control and just set it and forget it, as some of my mentors will say. Yeah, I think in general, that's the real feelings.
Beautiful. So, Purnima, over to you. How do you feel about the transition? I know you're still in the corporate world, but you also know that you're transitioning out of that role, whatever it holds. But how does it feel for you to, on your journey and kind of the transition? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, so I was reflecting on this earlier today. And the two things that both of you said earlier on, one was do things different. Oh no, do different things. And then I think what I wanted to add to that, which I think you said later, Nimesh, or even if you stay within corporate, how do you be different? So you don't, we can still stay in the corporate environment. It's not to say that this is asking for everyone to leave their jobs tomorrow and, move on into something completely different. But it's even in the workspace, how do we be different to create more of that connection, create more of that safety, right? Because again, we're looking for someone to create that safety for us instead of we being able to create that safety. And so if I just take a step back and look at my entire career of 26 years in corporate, and that ranged from TV, newspaper, print, radio, FMCG, and then a little startup for a bit, and then finally in banking. The one thing that was so true to me, which now I understand why I'm going in this direction, is I had a sense of people. People were always my center. And it wasn't, and I did really well in all of my jobs, but it wasn't the job that was motivating me. It was the people and the connection. And that daily interaction, and again, all of the roles I did was always global. And I seeked that because I came from South Africa, where, growing up in apartheid, we were told that, you can't interact with each other. You have to stay in your own sort of areas. And so I think there was something in me that was constantly fighting and saying, no, I want all the color. I want the, the variety. And I kept searching for that. And every job I had allowed me to work with people from all over the world. And that was my purpose at the time. And I didn't, it's only on this journey of reflection that I realized that was almost like my growing board or sounding board or leading board, whatever that terminology is. But I was allowed to grow in that environment. And through that, I learned to lead with love, with kindness, with compassion, with empathy. Areas that I had to learn, where I learned where my triggers were, where my insecurities from my childhood would come into the workplace. I saw it so clearly. I was very aware of myself, even in those environments. Listening was a big one. So there was a few, so again, the corporate environment taught me a lot because you're interacting with human beings every day. they're your mirrors. Every day you're being presented with something to look at yourself and say, okay, what is this? How am I showing up today? And the moments where I didn't have any boundaries and I worked silly hours where I actually harmed myself, physically, as in I was ill. Those were all from wounds that I didn't, I constantly felt I had to prove myself. So the corporate world has taught me a lot. I've been very, very blessed. And I've always loved the jobs that I've done. So I'm not going to say, that it didn't serve me. And then in the last, I think where the change for me, I wrote this down earlier because it was something that really changed, was when COVID happened and we started working from home. What I noticed is working from home removed, there was something at work, the gossip, and I think that's something that just completely fell away. And that in itself helped just allowed so much of mental free space. And it's not to say, we gossip out of malice, but sometimes it's just we're venting, we're sort of trying to, but in that we create other issues within ourselves. So what I found is that when I started working from home, I was just able to focus. I was able to, and then through that, it also allowed me to truly understand who I am as a leader. And that was a leader leading with love. I gave people space in that time. And that's basically where I started my journey in the spiritual awakening. I then met you, Nimesh, and you've helped me over 2 different courses of mentorship courses to help me understand what my purpose in this life is. And it feels so right that last year I knew that my time in the corporate environment was going to come to an end. I felt the disconnect, and I've never felt disconnected at work, which was also, like even now when I talk about it, I feel a bit emotional because that was my identity for 27 years. And, but the world and the universe has a beautiful way of working. I will be leaving in a few months' time, and, but it's all worked out. It's given me the time to set myself up, and, and I'm on this journey to help guide and do what I'm meant to be doing in this lifetime in a different way. So thank you.
I love it. It's just that, when we have a plan, it's great, So, Purnima, in your example, it's like, no, I'm not going to leave corporate, I'm not going to do my own thing. And it's just like, to Alex's point earlier, it's like, corporate gives you a salary, right? It gives you a safe landing. It gives you a space. And you've earned a decent salary and it's safe. It's like, we have these great plans. And, I remember for me, I was like, I knew I was going to leave, but I was kind of waiting for more redundancies to get a nice package. And I was waiting, but slowly inside, I was kind of dying more and more. And it's kind of like, came to a point where I just had to go. It was just, but I do resonate with what you guys are saying, because there was a time I was doing 20-hour days, and I'd be like, if I take a day off, the company's going to fold. And it's like, realistically, no, it wasn't. And I've had some very senior roles, and of course, but it's just an interesting journey in terms of your identity. And so I'd love for you guys to talk about, what would your advice be? So somebody, and it could be in corporate, it could be anywhere, but if they're doing something that they don't feel connected to, maybe it's sucking the life out of them, and they just feel like, they're just doing it because, we need a salary, right? But what would you advise them to be in terms of maybe seeing the light, maybe at least starting something different? Maybe there's some little bits of ideas or inspiration that you can provide. So, but anyway, let's start with you, continue the conversation. What would your advice be to anyone that feels like they're going through a transition or feels like they don't belong? What would your advice be? What would you do?
Okay, so if I think there's probably a lot of people feeling that, and I would say, feel into that feeling, explore it. Nimesh, you've always said to us, and I actually wrote this down. One of my things in my whole life has been curiosity. So be curious. You don't have to bring the heaviness with that feeling, right? You can just say, okay, I'm feeling this. What is it? there's so many tools and practices out there. Nimesh, we were talking about it earlier, the 10-minute silence, the journaling, spending time in nature, just letting your mind sit still. And again, even if you're in the corporate environment and want to stay in that environment, nothing says, I think we were taught for a long time that your job is this, and that's who you're defined as, that one thing. And I am so excited for everyone to know that that isn't the case. That isn't the case. It's, Nimesh said himself, he's a mentor, he's a podcaster, he's a healer, various other things, right? And I'm discovering that, channeling poetry, or we've just started a podcast with another friend, and it's not the end. This is just the beginning. So even, because obviously once you start finding what your other interests are or your purpose, your corporate and the other, if you're feeling fulfilled, you're going to be giving even more into your corporate environment, right? So you're going to be going in there with your full self, because you're getting to feed your passion, and potentially, your corporate could be your passion as well. It's not to say it's not. And a lot of the times, to be honest, I do believe that if you sit down and reflect and just look at all the jobs you've had, look at the interactions and the way you've been in your roles, or what types of roles, you will find a common thread amongst them. And that will give you some form of guide as to what you're interested in, and what your soul is actually calling you maybe to go into a little bit more deeper. And then you can find ways of doing that on the weekends and the evenings, and then start seeing where that takes you. And then who knows, yes, maybe in years to come, you may choose to start something of your own, or continue and have a hybrid working life. So yeah.
Thank you, Purnima. Alex, same question for you. What would your advice be for someone that feels like they don't fit into their world anymore?
That was beautiful, Purnima, by the way.
Thank you.
Allow yourselves to feel your feelings and really, really take that in. I think trust. And I know you're thinking that it's very easy to say it and it's really hard to do. It's not that hard. If you just really trust that you're feeling what you're feeling, because this is your moment. Everything happens at divine timing. The universe, God, whoever you want to call it. I call it spirit most of the times. Sometimes I call it God. Sometimes I call it universe. But they are making you feel everything you're supposed to be feeling right now. Trust that you're supported by a beautiful, loving spirit family that only wants your highest good for your highest healing and for all around you. Trust that these feelings that you're having right now are the beginning of a greater purpose. And you just need to start taking baby steps. And as Purnima said, and that's why I'm going with that, with continue feeling your feelings, because little by little, you start taking baby steps. And with that, then boundaries come. Mm-hmm. And if you are in a hybrid environment, like Purnima right now, like everyone else, most people around us, you're going to start setting boundaries, and you're going to start taking care of yourself. And when you are in a better place, everyone around you is in a better place as well. When your energy vibrates higher, everyone around you gets lifted because of your energy, because of your attitude, because of your awareness, because your connection. And you start making a difference and impact everyone's life around you every single day of your life. And then just trust that spirit is going to take you wherever you belong, so you can fulfill the purpose of your soul. In the end, that's what we're here to do. So I say, just adding on to Purnima's, trust is my number one.
Wow, such great advice. Yeah, and trust is such a big part of it, right? It's like it is I feel like we've been asked to take a leap of faith right now, and it's just it's an interesting time, and but we're also being supported in so many different ways if we're open to it. And Purnima, what you said about feeling what you're feeling, I just recorded a solo podcast yesterday where we're trained, if we're feeling anger, if we're feeling emotion, if we're feeling We're trained to push it down. That's our programming. But right now, feel what you're feeling, because everything you push down has to come up some point, right? So if you're feeling anger, obviously don't take it on somebody else, but feel and honor what you feel. Be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror, have an honest conversation. And, I actually said it so well. We are the light. Whatever modalities you've learned in the corporate space, or even, as a healer, Akashic Record reader, tarot, that doesn't define who you are. Your light, your vibration makes such a difference. And maybe even start by noticing how your vibration is making a difference, accepting that you're the gift. And, for me, on the spiritual journey, so often we're looking for this big epiphany, this big message in the sky. Once I know my purpose. But actually, for me, you've also got to meet the universe halfway. And how do you meet the universe halfway? That's where self-care comes in. Time in silence, time in meditation, time in nature. What that does, it gives you that calmer base so you can actually listen to your messages. That is meeting the universe halfway. That's creating a platform for you to receive this beautiful message that both Alex and Purnima talk about. So do meet the universe halfway. And the other thing is, there's nothing stopping you starting something in parallel. The way I saw corporate for so long was a way of funding my dreams. It's like,
Amen.
If you're getting the call to do something radical, then sure, maybe trust that too. But at the same time, if there's a reality of life, you've got a family and all that, and you want to do something in parallel, then ask yourself, what do I enjoy doing? What's my passion? What if I spent more time doing this? What would lift me up? Because again, that's another way of meeting the universe halfway. When you show up, I love asking my guys to, today I want you to show up and show off. So when you show up for you and you make yourself a priority, I guarantee your guys will show up for you. Maybe not in the way you expected, right? Because we have expectations. But this is such a beautiful transitional time. So I'm going to switch it back to you guys in terms of, I'd love for you to talk more about your journey. What do you do now? Kind of what's your healing modalities? I'd say you guys are the gifts, the light. So I'm not going to say what are your gifts. I'm going to say what do you do for the planet? Anything you want to share about your transition into kind of feeling that energy, feeling that the power of who you are? Anything you want to share about your story, please do. Alex, I'm going to start with you.
Let's start with my purpose on this planet, and is simply to spread love. There is nothing greater, higher than love and gratitude. And it's very interesting that you asked me that question right now, because I'm going through a very difficult week for me. A year ago exactly, I lost my baby brother, and yesterday was his anniversary. And I sat back and I said, okay, let's allow myself to feel my feelings. Right? Let's see what's going on. Interestingly enough, more than sadness, I felt gratitude. And some people are gonna go like, what do you mean? I meant gratitude because the universe showed up for me in magical, unbelievable ways a year ago. And despite of everything that I was going through, all the pain I was going through, I was in a different country. I left my husband with my little ones at home. My husband got laid off the same time that my brother was fighting for his life. I was somehow still grounded and was still able to see the magic in a cab driver that was a completely stranger and became my friend. He became family. He drove me wherever I needed to go. People from different countries that made phone calls to find contacts at different buildings, because I was navigating a system that I didn't know. This all happened back home in Colombia. I haven't been home since more than 20 years. So I had no idea about the entire process. I met my sister-in-law for the very first time in person. And they all took me in like we've known each other forever, which at a soul level, we have, right? And I'm in a space right now full of gratitude and love, even though I am missing his physical presence, but I see him and feel him all the time. So that's why I'm answering spreading love, because no matter what, there is magic everywhere. So as part of my journey, I had the biggest awakening of my life when I became a mom, a mother, a mom, a mama, a mommy, an Alex, and everything, anything that my little ones can call me. And it triggered all of this pain that I had since I was a child. And I found help. I looked for help because I wanted to be a better version of myself in order to take care of my little ones. During the process of going through my healing journey, which that's how I met Nimesh. Nimesh knows that I have a very special place for him in my heart.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
A year ago, actually, I didn't want to know anything about my spirit guides. I was like, you took my brother away. I want nothing to do with you. Go away. Don't talk to me. And then we'll go like, but Alex, hello, we're here. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're putting me through pain all over again. I contacted NIMS and I said, I need a session because I want my guys to talk to you. That's how this relationship has grown. And going back to becoming a mother, it triggered a need to heal. And through that healing journey, I understood a lot of things. But more than anything, I understood the responsibility of raising the future healers and gifted little talents of this planet. I can take that away from the planet. I can take that away from this world. We need that. After that, I started coming up with what my gifts were, right? I started thinking about and really taking that self-discovery journey. I became a Reiki practitioner and I started doing energy work. I started channeling quite a lot. And then I said, you know what? I have always helped people somehow. Let's become a spiritual mentor. And when I say become, is because that's pretty much a physical, earthy terminology, right? I was guided. I was guided in the end, and I started my business, Alexandra Willis, as a mentor and as a healer. When I lost my brother, part of the reason why I didn't want anything to do with my spirit family was because I had always had the gift of receiving messages from loved ones from the other side and deliver them to people. I was able to say, I have a message for you, and I will give you the message that your guides were giving you. I hadn't developed quite well to know exactly who was giving you that message from your soul family. When my brother passed, the one thing that my spirit family said was, well, how are you going to be a good medium if you don't know the pain of losing someone? And I was like, oh no, you did not dare say that to me. But they were so right. So after losing my brother and being able to connect with him and being able to hear him clearly and see him clearly, I started working on developing my gifts as a medium. I had a beautiful mentor. Her name is Marianne DiMarco. I hope you're watching us. And she helped me develop my gifts as a medium. And I incorporated mediumship into the modalities that I use because it brings healing to people. Being able to hear a message from a loved one when they're trying to get that connection, right? Knowing that spirit can use me as a vessel to bring healing to people is what sparks light in my days, every single day. And then see the magic through my children, right? Out of nowhere, my baby daughter, she's 4 now, she grabbed my brother's picture and she said, Uncle Chrissy, Uncle Chrissy. No one knew that I called him Chrissy. No one did. But somehow she did it. She knew it. So it's been quite the journey for me. Right now that I am not in the corporate world, I'm trying to put myself out there a little bit more. I'm trying to talk to a lot more people. I'm doing a lot of Reiki sessions right now. I'm doing speaker gigs here and there. It's all about bringing the magic to everyone, and showing people as I share my story that there is really magic everywhere. Once you're centered in love, everything just falls into place. I hope that was an easy way to understand my journey.
It was so beautiful. And the
Beautiful.
last bit,
Mm,
whenever whenever you ask for magic, magic does show up.
mm,
But you have to let go of what that magic might look like, right? So otherwise you might miss it. But so much in what you said, right? I mean, just the major events in our life, for me, are destined, right? I mean, it's like I always have this conversation between free will and destiny, right? But, these grief is such an awakener. My mentor, my friend Sidra, when she left this realm, I realized I was playing safe. And, this podcast wouldn't be where it is today. I wouldn't even have started it if she's still in this realm. I mean, I miss her, of course, but it's so interesting. And then kids, I mean, definitely your expanders, Alex, I'm sure. And, I just recorded an episode with my nephew. He's 11, and just my sister's my brother-in-law passed away recently, and he talks to him. He talks to him every night. He was staying here for a week, and my sister's like, she only doesn't live far. She's like, will you stay here for a night? And he's like, I'm only going to stay if you give me a picture of him. He feels connected. And it was like, why can't we as adults be that magical and that open? It's just like, they're such great teachers. So, so Alex, thank you for that beautiful, beautiful share. And I'm so glad I could hold your space as you're going through it. So thank you for that opportunity. And, and it's always beautiful. I mean, working with different mentors and, kind of, I'll always say when the student's ready, the teacher will find you. When the teacher's ready, the student will find you. And it's that, for me, it's a soul contract. So if you're looking for somebody to hold your space, who touches your heart? And you got to ask. If you ask, the universe will show up, right? So, so Alex, thank you for that beautiful, beautiful share. Purnima, over to you. What do you want to share about your journey, your awakening, kind of how you connected with the healer? And actually, to share for both of you, there's the reality is this transition and the work that I've done with both of you. It is deep.
mm,
It's like you have to go. You've signed up for some really deep work here in terms of the karma we're here to release, and so
mm.
some of the work we have to do in this, especially in this lifetime, should come with a health warning just to kind of give people a heads up.
Oh, that's yeah. That's
Just
really
the
funny.
reality. But honestly, it's so powerful if you're open to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Purnima, over to you.
Okay. Whew. So again, Alex, your story just always, whenever you tell that story, it does make me feel really emotional. And Nimesh, you talking about your nephew, and you talking about your kids and the magic. All of this. I've been in Glastonbury for a retreat for a few days in the last week, and I was feeling really emotional now, and I could feel the tears welling up. And as Nimesh knows, I am a crier. There's no doubt about it. But I've realized, and actually this week, it was further sort of, I guess, solidified that is part of my, we talk about the light being our gift. We all have light, and that's our gift. And the modalities are, different ways of helping heal, etc. And feeling the feeling, and so I don't just feel my emotions, I feel other people's emotions, as both of you do. And I deeply feel them. So often I will end up being tearful, but it's not necessarily, I'm not crying for myself, I'm just also releasing on behalf of other individuals. So I had written down, you said love, and that's, I feel like I see love and hearts everywhere. And I think my friends are probably tired of me saying, oh, look, there's a heart on the floor, or oh, look, there's a heart in the cloud. But it truly, when you start seeing it and you feel it, you do just see it everywhere. You see it. I think a few years ago, I remember having this experience, and I remember after that saying, I can't look at another human being again and not see them through pure love and magic. And so my sort of mantra that I'm following now is kindness is my superpower. I think even in moments of frustration, I just drop into that emotion. And so I'd say in terms of the journey of the modalities and, to how I sort of, I guess, how I got to my journey as well. I touched on it earlier, but going back to that point of, Nimesh, you asked about if people are feeling things, I would say listen, really pause and listen. Speak to your guides. If it's not something you've done before, try it out. Honestly, we talk, again, you talked about free will, and it just popped into my head that, your guides they can't interfere with free will. So if you don't ask for help, you're not going to get that guidance. You don't need to ask for anything specific. If you don't even know what to ask, literally say, guides, help me. I don't know what I need here, and surrender to the magic that follows. But you will get signs if you start paying attention and you move out of autopilot. And that's where, again, the meditation, the journaling, the 10-minute silence, the walking in nature helps you come out of autopilot. You will start seeing the signs. You may have noticed it on a clock. I used to always see 11:11 for I don't know how long in my life, and didn't really realize that was the universe talking to me. And when I was ready, I did a part of my awakening on my own. I understood it as much as I could, and then I knew I needed someone to guide me through it. And I asked the universe, please send me someone to help me. And that person was Nimesh. And the funny thing was, it was in such a beautiful way. I kept hearing about Akashic reading. It just came out of the blue. The same as Reiki healing came out of the blue. It just came into my mind. And then I listened and I went and I did healing through that initially. And then the Akashic Records kept coming. And I was like, what is this thing? What is this thing? I Googled it. And then I was like, okay, I'll just wait for the right reader, the Akashic reader to come. And then I saw a post on this group in the UK called Recommend Asia. And there was a testimonial and it ended with NIMS, N-I-M-S. And my shortened name that I'm referred to or was referring to myself as Nima. And I was like, oh, that's definitely a sign. So, and my sister and a few people call me Nims as well. So actually my sister calls me Nims.
Right.
So I was like, okay, there's the sign. And I got in touch and the rest is history. So listen to those little nudges. They're not coincidence. They are your guides guiding you, helping you. And you don't know what can come out of it. So that's, so I would say, so through the first mentorship, which was very much going within, understanding my triggers, boundaries, even though I had all this level of self-awareness, I had to go really, really deep. I thought I dealt with a lot of childhood stuff, which Nimesh will know. There's a lot that I hadn't, or I didn't understand the enormity or the understanding of why those things happen, and our soul purpose and what we come to experience in our lives. So that allowed me to release a lot. And because I was able to release a lot, there was now space within me for new things to come through, and the gifts and the understanding. And I'm still on that journey. It is no way anywhere near over. It's almost like happening as I speak. And through that, I understood that my purpose on this earth is to guide. And I believe I've been doing that in my whole life, but not, under, Alex, you said the same thing. It's not, under title, but it's now just, actually truly embodying it in every I guess, part of my being. And so, yes, so it's a spiritual mentor healer, Akashic reader. I'm still practicing, I'm in training for the Reiki, and then recently launched a podcast called Guided Soul Reflections and various other things. It's a really exciting journey. I don't know what to expect in a few months when I leave, but I have absolute trust and faith that this is just the absolute beginning. It's not the, yeah, it's like the sense of knowing. It's so deep. And this is the first time in my life I have a sense of deep knowing. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you, Nimesh, for setting this up, for inviting us. I am so blessed that I get to meet Alexandra, and this is a beautiful new soul contract. And let's see, yeah, what's to come.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You know, it's just I love what I get to do, but it's just when I see people that have guided and helped shining the light so beautifully, it kind of lifts my soul in a different sort of way. So thank you both for those examples. And you know, Purnima, when you and Sangeeta started that podcast, and you know, I know I nudged you a little bit along the way, but
Yeah. a lot,
I was
a lot.
so proud. And it's just whatever platform you use, it's using your voice, shining your light. It's just so beautiful. You know, as we start closing out this episode, I am sure we could have like a series of episodes, but I'd love for you just to kind of talk about what it feels like to shine your light, to be seen. Because for me, that is one of the biggest challenges that people are finding right now. And I talk to a lot of people about it's time to shine your light. It's time to stand in your power, speak your truth. And, you know, all of those words are great. And I speak from the heart. But I'd love for you to share your guidance to others and for yourself on how are you shining your light and speaking your truth and what your journey's been like in that area.
Yep.
Alex, over to you first.
That's a hard question. You know, for those of you who don't know Nimesh, he's such a wonderful expander.
Yes.
Always
Thank
asks
you.
the right questions. And just notice how he asked the question, right? He said, you know, advice for others and even for yourself. He already knows that whatever I'm going to say is going to be to myself as well. So I'm going to try to measure my words, even though we're channeling this entire session.
The human's here too, right? And so I've got to nudge the human along too.
Right. One of my mentors likes to say that when we feel, let's say we are about to go live for a podcast, recording this podcast, and you feel the jitters and your heart starts pounding and you start sweating. She likes to say that it's not your physical body telling you, oh my God, this is not going to go well. Because that's what your mind is saying. Your mind is saying, I'm not going to say things right. I'm going to say my name is Alex instead of Alexandra. And that was the intention from the beginning. I'm going to screw it up somewhere. And what she said to me was, think of it as if spirit is just lifting you up and you're feeling it. Your body is fighting it, right? Your ego is going, no, we don't know what that is. That's the unknown. But when you feel this, your heart pounding, think of it as if it's the excitement of things that are coming your way. And I try to rely on that advice quite a lot lately because it's scary. It's scary to put yourself out there. Yes, it is. But when you just surrender and you trust, you ground yourself at the beginning and you say, Spirit, give me the words to serve. Universe, I am supported. I am grounded. I am protected. Mother Gaia, I know you are with me. I'm connected. Magic just happens. And my advice will be to just follow your gut. Your clear cognizance is just telling you where to go. That when you say I have a gut feeling that I should start a podcast, That's not a gut feeling, my friend. That's your soul speaking to you,
Mm.
saying, go start that podcast. I've been dreaming of writing a book since I was a child.
Mm.
And I've been writing every single day because I finally understood that gut feeling that a little girl is waiting to read that book, or a mom is waiting to read that book. It finally became the understanding that it's my responsibility to share my story, so that other people can shine their light, so other people can heal through my words. And hey, what more of a miracle do I want to ask for than the universe using me as an instrument to help
Mm.
heal
Mm.
people and raise the vibration? And, you know, besides that, just take care of yourself, protect your energy. Something that I usually teach my students is, when you are grounding yourself, I do it even for my kids' bedroom. When I go in, I say, please allow that, or allow, and no energy that vibrates below the frequency of love
Oh,
belongs here.
beautiful.
And just
Beautiful.
call in that high energy right away. Surround yourself with a beautiful golden light that only has miracles in it for you. And always remember, it's for the highest good and for the highest healing of all concern. And then ask for help. Ask for help. And to Nimesh's point, have that time of quietness and stillness for yourself. I like to say, we ask for help through prayer, we receive answers through stillness.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And when you are in that space, it's like the universe just shows you what you are supposed to be, what you are meant to be, the people you are meant to be speaking to. They just corrected the supposed to, that is not supposed to here, is meant
I
to.
love it. Yeah. So true.
So that is my advice to you, to myself. Yes, I'm listening as well.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And there's so many nuggets there. I mean, it's like
Mm.
one of the first things you said was to listen to your body. It's just like, why do we always go outside for answers when
Mm.
we get so many signals in our physical body? It's like, if you're getting the urge to do something, why do we fight it? Yes, it's our ego, but it's like, it's such a natural channel.
Yeah.
And, just, and the other thing, which is so many beautiful things, but also, if we make this healing journey about ourselves, we get lost in, but if we focus on that one person, it's like, what if I will release this podcast? If it helps one person, then I've achieved my objective. Don't make it. It's easy to say, but don't make it about you. So powerful, Alex. Thank you for that. Purnima, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Gosh, yeah, Alex, Alexandra, there's so many beautiful nuggets in there. So for me, my journey about stop waiting to be seen was like literally Nimesh, like just almost, if he had a choice, he would have been behind my back just pushing me.
Nudging. That's gentle nudges.
Gentle nudging. No. I don't
That
think
was my intention anyway.
I don't think nudging works with me. So I needed to, and so I'd say so when I finished my second mentorship, I think that was around June, July. Since then, before that, I couldn't even get onto Instagram and do a video with my face on it. I first started just putting posts. Then I would slowly start putting my audio, which also took a while of nudging, lots of nudging. Eventually, I put a face. I don't know how many takes I did, but just the act of even doing that. And when you go through these mentorships or training or anything in life, you have to almost learn it firsthand to truly embody the practice of it, or the meaning behind it. And for me, in that moment, two things happened. One was perfection and control. I understood immediately finally understood that those are absolute illusions. They do not exist in any form. And they almost are crutches that hold you back, because that time and effort spent in perfecting something or controlling a whole situation to do something, you've expanded all the energy, and you're not going to do what you want to do, because it's always never going to be good enough. So that was really critical for me to learn. Part of that was, and you've said this many times, moving from the thinking to the feeling. how does it make me feel to share that message? Because if it helps one person, like I've been helped, and how many other messages that I've seen on Instagram that has helped me. Someone once said, if you resonate with a message that, has changed your life, why, even a piece of your life, why wouldn't you think your message is going to do the same? And that really stood out for me. And I was like, yeah, we're all searching, we're looking for answers or for guidance. So that comes through in many ways. So the thinking to the feeling, resigning the idea of control and perfection. And then the expanders. Yes, Nimesh has been an expander. Sangeeta, the person I'm doing the podcast with, another friend, Louise, my nephew is such an amazing expander, and I feel so blessed every day that he's actually always in my mind. When I think about the work I'm doing, he's in my mind, and he helped me see. He's turning 12, I think, this year, I think, and he's in my healing journey. He was the first ones, I think, that I started seeing patterns, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And so, again, to the audiences, pay attention to who those people are around you. My husband's an expander, and thank them, because sometimes our expanders they don't come wrapped up in a nice little package. And going back to that original point, we did around being seen. When I was in Glastonbury this weekend, there was 2 exercises. One was just with your hands, and you follow the other person's hands, but you just purely making eye contact. I could never do eye contact. There were a few times my hands went off, I looked down, but I would say out of that 2-minute exercise, I maintained eye contact pretty much throughout that exercise. And then there was another exercise where we had to say, I see you, looking at the person looking directly at them, which was a really powerful exercise, because it's not the outer version. It's actually truly, I felt seen, and I allowed myself to be seen in all the beautiful light that I've been given. So 4 months ago, there was no way I was ready to say any of this. I wouldn't have even wanted to be on Nimesh's podcast.
I love it.
But I'm feeling a lot of gratitude and love and a lot of strength from my family, friends, mentors, and my spiritual team and guides. So yeah, so I'm ready, and I'm ready for more. So
I love it.
watch
I love
this
it. I love it.
space.
I love it.
Thank
I love
you.
it. And yeah, thank you for all that sharing. It's just so much power in making it about one person. So much power in letting go. I mean, how often do we overthink things? And just, it's like, even starting this podcast, I was like, do I have the right mic? Do I have the right software? And it's like, in the end, I just put my AirPods in and started recording. And of course, it's come a long way. But just if you feel like you want to do something, just do it.
Let's do it.
If you want to start a podcast, it's just do it. Use your voice, whatever platform. We procrastinate on it, but once everything I've done like that, once I've started, it's just okay. Wasn't as easy as hard as I thought. Just do it, and if you want your guides to give you a little nudge, ask them. They will definitely give you a little nudge. So, but yeah, guys, thank you for this. We could talk for hours. I love you guys so much. I'm so proud of you. I will include your details in the show notes. But as we close, if somebody wanted to reach out, kind of work with you, what does that look like? Purnima, let's start with you.
Yeah. So I've got a mentorship program. Various, we can have a sort of discovery session and take it from there, or we can do an Akashic reading and then see, what's the next step. So yeah, if you're in transition, if you're a people pleaser, all of those traits that we all have, and you're looking to change, get some boundaries in, please do reach out for a discovery call, and then we can take it from there. Thank you, Nimesh.
Thank you, Purnima. Alexandra, over to you.
First of all, thank you. It's been an amazing space, beautiful space, beautiful energy. I was called before when Purnima, you talked about the Akashic Records, and I could feel my spirit guys going, yes, 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 Akashic Records, say something about it. And I'm like, not right now, Purnima is talking. But I have to put this parenthesis in because otherwise they will be telling me all day long how I didn't talk about Akashic Records. Akashic Records changed my life. And I tell you this from the bottom of my heart. I am an Akashic Record reader. I'm not telling you to book a service with me. What I'm telling you is it can change your life as well. There is a beautiful space full of love, healing, compassion, protection that can change your life. The same way it changed Nimesh's life, the same way it changed my life, the same way it changed Purnima's life.
Yeah, for sure.
It can be you.
Mhm.
So this is your nudge from the universe through me saying, go book your Akashic Record reader with whoever you call
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
and give it a try. It's beautiful. If my voice resonates with you, if your soul feels attracted to my soul, if we are connecting to each other, you can find me online, alexandrawillis.com. You can find me on Instagram at Alexandra Willis Mentor. I'll be super excited to hear from any of you. We need people like you. We need people who are going through whatever it is that you're going through and have the courage to step outside that tiny box and then say, I'm going to take this huge leap of faith and work on myself. You are not helping only yourself, you're helping the entire planet. We need more of us. We need more of you.
So beautifully said. And, the way Alex said it's true. It's a soul contract. So if any of our voices resonate, reach out. I couldn't agree more about Akashic Records, because Akashic Records for me opened me up to so much, the realms of so much beauty. It allows me to connect to my guides and visit other realms. And, you guys started with me with Akashic Records, and it's just, people are guided to me through them. So it's just, it's magical if you allow it to be, I guess is the best way I can put it. Guys, Alexandra, Purnima, I'm so proud of you guys. I'm just, for you to be on this podcast and, just like, Alexandra, you found me through this podcast. I think I was initial. Purnima, you found me on social media, and actually you found me in recommendation, which is a group only for females, which is like, hey, how cool is that? And I love when you let go and you just allow magic to happen. That's really the message of this podcast, is allow it to happen. Feel it. I am feeling, my soul is lifted today. Thank you guys. I'm sending so much love and light. As Alex said so well, you're needed, you're wanted. We're sending you so much love. We're sending you the biggest hug. Love and light to all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Bye for now.